Crash by Jerry Spinelli, Chapter 17 and 18. Chapter 17, pages 58 through 60. Chapter 17. She was still searching when Mike left. She didn't stop until my father came home. As she closed the door behind him, she mouthed silently to me, "Don't tell." "There's a rodent loose in the house," I told him. "Might even be a rat." Abby threw her ugliest face at me. "It's a mouse." My father frowned. "Just what I need." "You saw it?" "Yeah, in the kitchen. Ran in there somewhere." He looked around as if he thought it was going to come out and take a bow. Abby ran up the stairs. He let out a long breath. "Well, tell your mother to get a trap." "Better get more than one," I said. He nodded. The front door opened. My mother was home. She heard my father say, "We have a mouse." She sagged, just like he had when I told him. I notice that a lot. It almost happens when they come home from work. I'll say something, or Abby will, and they sag. It's a total major sag. Cheeks, shoulders, even voice, except the eyeballs. They roll upward. It's like they've just barely making it through the day and they finally get home. And one little word from us sometimes is just a question like, "Do you know where my Frisbee is?" And bam, they're crushed. Sag City. Sometimes I wish we could turn the day upside down so their main time at home would be in the morning before they get all worn out. I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it doesn't take much to crush a parent. My mother sighed, "Get a trap." "Me?" said my father. "You're the male. You're supposed to be the hunter." She sagged down the kitchen. She stopped. She pointed at my football laundry bag. "No." "No what?" I said. She's still looking, pointing down. "You know what. All last year you kept leaving that smelly thing in here. It's not going to happen this year. Not even once. Pick it up and get it out of here." I guess I didn't move fast enough. "Now." "All right." I snatched it up. "Thank you," she said, and dragged herself off. I followed my father into his office. It was a little room in the back. Sometimes he goes right on working there half the night. "Remember that kid Schultz I told you about? Said he was going to bust me? He took stuff from his briefcase." "Did he?" I sneered. "Ha! We had a fight even before practice started. They had to pull us apart. And I got him good later. We ran some drills, and twice I plowed into him into the ground. I was awesome." He looked up. He laughed. He reached out and mussed my hair. "That's my crash." I felt a little like sticking around, but I figured I better not press my luck. I backed out. "Can't wait for the first game," I said. "October 8th. "Go get him, Crasher," he said. He was rooting up on his desk. I lugged my football bag upstairs. Our upper hallway is different from most people's. It's like an art gallery. My mother used to be a painter. Some of her paintings are hanging on the walls between the bedrooms. One of the paintings is me. You never know it because I was less than a year old when she did it. I'm lying on my stomach with a diaper on, looking up with a toothless grin, probably already thinking that I'm going to do when I get my first football helmet. It's a stupid picture, actually, something like they should be kept private. Everyone who sees it laughs. I usually don't even look at it. This time I did. On the glass that covered it, some mysterious unknown person had crammed a mustache right above my toothless grin. I put spit on my finger and rubbed it off. Chapter 18, pages 61 through 65. Chapter 18. October 8th, we creamed Hillside East 45-13. I scored 6 touchdowns. The first one was the best. It was the very first play of the game. Brill, the quarterback, called I-22 right. That means he hands off to me and I run over right tackle, which is fine with me because right tackle is where Mike DeLuca plays on offense. Coming out of the huddle, Mike bumps me and says, "Let's do it." Usually a simple, safe play like this is supposed to get the team's feet wet, maybe gain a couple of yards. That's probably all Brill had in mind. He doesn't know me and Mike. I took the hand off, slanted right, kept my head up, watching for the hole. There it was. Mike was shoving the Hillside tackle halfway to China. I blasted through, and there was the Hillside linebacker. Someone was supposed to pick him up, but nobody did. I stiff-armed him. The stiff arm always works in every game. Players don't expect it. Most runners never use it. I hit him smack in the face with the heel of my hand. His eyes went gaga. His head snapped back. I was clear for a second. Somebody had hold of my free hand, the one without the ball. I started swinging around, spinning with the arm out, trying to shake the kid. He was whirling around like a carnival ride. On the third spin, he went flying off into two of his teammates. Now, there was nothing between me and the goal line but the safeties. I love safeties. They're usually small and fast and shifty. They expect you to try to outrun or outjuke them. I swear I almost burst out laughing right then when I saw the safety's face as he realized I wasn't going left, I was going right. I was coming right at him like a bullseye on his nose. I plowed him under and streaked the last 40 yards to pay dirt. My teammates almost killed me in the end zone, mobbing me, burying me under a pile of bodies just like they never saw a touchdown before. They carried me off the field on their shoulders. The ride was bumpy, but the view was great. The cheerleaders were going crazy, including Webb. That's right, the happy little surprise made it. He's a cheerleader. Same sweater and shoes on as the girls. At least he didn't have a skirt on. It was one of the eeriest, uncomfortable feelings I ever had, watching a boy lead cheers for me. Of course, the stands were going wild too. I looked for my father, even my mother. What the heck? Couldn't see either one of them. Well, after all, the game just started. Maybe they're on their way, or maybe I missed them in the crowd. As I waded through the pad slapping and high-fiving, I took another look into the stands. Still didn't see them. But I did see someone else about halfway up, a white-haired guy and a semi-old lady slapping and clapping the rest of them. Webb's prehistoric parents. My second touchdown was a 52-yarder on a pitch-out from Brill. This time there wasn't anybody on the way to run over. I just left them out in the dust. The place went wild again. This time I made him let me leave the field on my own feet. Webb's parents were still smiling and clapping. Mine weren't there. Okay, I figured maybe they're late. Give them some time. They're coming. All you got to do is keep scoring. And that's what I did. I either scored or made a long gain. Every time I touched the ball, I had to. Suppose they came just when I stopped for no gain. I couldn't stand it. And since I didn't know exactly when they'd show up, I had to be great every second. I kept telling Brill, give me the ball. I scored my fifth touchdown before the first half ended. They still weren't there. They're probably coming for the second half, I figured. They didn't. Touchdown number 6 came early in the third quarter as I trotted to the sideline. I kept staring in the stands looking for my parents anymore, but at Webb's. They were still there, grinning and clapping themselves silly. I wanted to charge up there and strangle them. I wanted to shake their skinny vegetarian necks and scream into their Quaker faces, stop cheering for me. I don't need your cheers. I'm not doing this for you, so stop acting so damn grateful. When we went on offense again, I raced back onto the field, and as I leaned into the huddle, I felt the tap. I turned. It was my backup. I'm in for you, he said. That's what you think, I said. I shoved him. He stumbled backward into his second string butt. I heard Coach Latimer scream from the sidelines. The quarterback called to the referee, timeout. For the first time, I noticed it wasn't Brill. It was the second-string quarterback. The coach was calling me. He was waving for me to come out. I pretend I didn't see or hear. Then he came stomping across the field. He pulled me away from the other players. I'm not going to drag you off, he whispered. You're going to trot off along with me. Understand? I glanced at the stands. You can't take me out. I'm just getting warmed up. I'm here to beat Hillside, he said, not destroy them. You're the first stringer left on the field, and you're already benched for the first quarter of the next game. He leaned sideways into my face. You want to try for the second quarter? He started trotting for the sidelines. I went with him. The kids in the stands jumped up and gave a standing ovation. Everyone was cheering. My name was being hooted down. Coogan, Coogan. Except one cheerleader, Jane Forbes. She just stood there behind the bench, hands on hips, glaring at me. After the game, Mike had to go straight home, so I walked alone. When I came to my house, I walked past it. I went around the block, slow, twice. Somebody was cooking somewhere. Whenever I smell cooking like that, it makes me want to go right into that house and eat along with them. But I can never tell which house it was coming from. Only one thing is for sure, it's not coming from my house. And that's why I was so shocked when I finally opened the front door. The smell was coming from my house. And that made no sense at all. My mom's car wasn't in the driveway, and Abby isn't allowed to use the stove. I shut the door real quiet. I got a good grip on my football bag. I tiptoed through the living room, the dining room, and a suitcase sat on the floor. Something was sizzling in a pan. It was smelling awfully good. Someone was whistling a tune. He was facing the stove. He must have heard me. He turned, a spatula in his hand. I screeched, "Scooter!"